Hi everyone, thanks for checking out my video today. Stevie Buckley PT. I just want to explain today how I managed to go from this to this, and really it's a video for people just starting out. When I was starting training and I was just a beginner and getting into fitness, I really didn't have an idea at all what I was going to do and how I should train and how I should eat, and there was so much conflicting information on the internet that I just really didn't know which way to go. Training this way, training that way, eating this way, eating that way. Don't eat like this because it'll ruin your muscle. Eat like this so you can build more muscle. There's so much conflicting information online. So it's a bit of for me, it's been a process of trial and error, trying things. Trying to see the results. If I didn't get results, then I would try other things. So I thought I'd make a quick video today just to explain. This is going to be more for beginners, people starting out, just so they can get a bit more of an idea of what they need to do and to get results. And like I say, there's conflicting information, so there'll be some people out there who don't agree with everything that I say today. This is just my opinion and what I believe is best. What worked for me. Now, what worked for me might not necessarily work for you, but it might give you an idea of something that you can try and see if you can see if it can help you progress with your results going forward. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please drop it a like and subscribe. Let's go. So my fitness journey really started back around about 2009, 2010. My dad and I got into business together. We started a golf shop in town, and this was it was an exciting time for me, but at the same time, it was probably going to be one of the worst things that ever happened, because what happened, I ended up just in this shop. I was just sitting down. I was so sedentary through the day. I was barely moving. My day would consist of me getting up in the morning, jumping on the bus, going up to the shop. I would set the shop up and then I would sit down, and I could be sitting down sort of 10, 12 hours. Okay, the shop was over 2 floors, but very rarely would we go up to the second floor. Most of the shop was based around at the bottom floor. So I was sitting down 10, 12 hours a day. My lunches would consist of breakfast would be the kind of a Greg's pasty, and then lunch would be from the baguette shop next door, literally just across the street. So baguette shop next door. I would get a big baguette, maybe a bottle of Coke and some crisps. That would be my lunch from every day. I would then finish my 10 or 12 hour shift from sitting down, and I would walk to the pub, which was only a few hundred yards from the shop, and I would sit down and probably have 3 or 4 pints there, and then I would get the bus down back down home, sit on my sofa, have dinner, and then go to bed and repeat. So I was very, very sedentary. I was barely moving throughout the day, and in this time I really gained and started gaining quite a lot of weight, and was really getting very, very unhealthy, both physically and mentally. I felt terrible. I was really struggling with my mental health at that point. I was really suffering with depression and feeling very down, and I just didn't like where I was. So I went to the one place where everyone goes, and I spoke to my mum, and my mum gave me some great advice at that time, looking back at it. And she said, look, you need to start moving more. Just whatever you do, just start moving more, start getting out in some fresh air. Seems like quite an obvious thing to do, but at the time I just didn't think about it. So I started walking to work, which is about half an hour. It was half an hour uphill. When I was in the shop, I was trying to move more when I was in the shop, doing maybe a few exercises in the shop. I was going up and down the stairs as much as I could. When I finished concentrating on better food through the day as well, making better food choices. And then when I finished my shift, I was just going home. I was walking home, which again was half an hour down the hill. So and walking past the pub, I was trying to avoid that, because obviously alcohol, when you're feeling down, is obviously not going to make you feel any better. So this is really where I feel it kind of kick-started my fitness really, and getting and seeing the power of what fitness can do, not only physically but mentally as well. I started doing this walking regularly. I then started going out for runs as well, because I could really start to see and feel the benefit. So I started going for runs, and like I say, this is what sparked the change for me. I felt like it was I just felt night and day, and I just wanted to continue. So I think sometimes when you're in this position, you just a lot of people, they'll feel a bit down, they'll feel a bit low. You just need that little bit of a spark, just a realization that you need to make a change. And once you just start making small steps, go out for a walk, get a bit more fresh air, get a bit more sunshine, you're going to feel so much better mentally. You're going to start losing a bit more weight physically as well, but you'll feel better mentally, and you're just going to want to continue. And I think this is what happened with me. It sparked the change, and it gave me the realization that and how powerful fitness was, and how much better you can feel. Physically and mentally. So this is where my story really began, and from there I just wanted to just continue on with fitness, and at this point I really wanted to make it my career. So I went forward from there. Now, like I've said before, through my journey over the past few years, I've made lots of mistakes, okay, and probably the biggest mistake I can think of making, which is, it's going to sound a bit ridiculous to a lot of people, but saying that a lot of people do try this as well, was I completely cut out carbohydrates, okay, because I was so desperate to just lean out and lose this weight. When I was starting doing my walking and running, I just wanted to really get as lean as I possibly could. I'd seen a documentary on Netflix, basically a keto documentary, but it was just, all around just cutting carbohydrates out completely. They're the devil, get rid of them, they're going to ruin your results. So that's what I did. I cut carbohydrates out completely, and when you're being really active like I was now at this point, and you get rid of a complete food group, carbohydrates, where you're going to get a lot of energy from, then yes, you're going to lose a lot of weight, and it's going to be rapid. But it just absolutely destroyed me. Now, I think the reason why I completely failed with this was because not only did I cut out carbohydrates, but I wasn't eating enough food as well. So my weight just plummeted, as you can see. I went extremely skinny. I felt horrible, mentally as well. I was really, I'd get really dizzy spells, dizzy through the day. I could barely drive. I was tired all the time, and I just generally just felt awful, to the point of where I was actually, I went to the toilet one day, and I actually collapsed in the bathroom while I was standing doing a pee. So this just gives you an idea of how bad I got, and I got so skinny, and it just felt shocking. So this is just one example of a big mistake that I made, a lesson that I learned during through my journey. So from this point, I then obviously realized that I needed to change things around. I'd probably been eating like this for about 4 or 5 months, something like that, and it absolutely destroyed me. So you can see I went from really big, well, I'll say really big, pretty big, gained a bit of weight, to super skinny. I mean, I think at this point I weighed around maybe about 145, 150 pounds. I mean, there was just nothing on me at all. So this is something that I definitely wouldn't recommend that you do. You don't need to be cutting out food groups. I realized this at that stage, and I changed my approach to nutrition, and I started looking more into better ways to eat, and I realized, in the long run, since that point, I've just been eating just a balanced diet. Okay, so I 100% believe that human beings are omnivores, and I think that we should get a little bit of everything. Okay, I don't think you should be extreme with one. I don't think you should just be eating meat. I don't think you should just be eating carbohydrates. I don't think you should be just full out vegan or vegetarian. I don't believe in that. I believe that us as humans, we're designed and built for a little bit of everything. We do really well on animal proteins, but we also do need the micronutrients from your fruits and vegetables as well. So I'm a big believer, and I preach to all of my clients, a really good balance of everything. Okay, so obviously if there's certain foods that you react really badly to, then I would suggest cutting them out, and obviously some people don't respond very well to dairy, some people will. So if you do, then great, eat dairy. If you don't, then maybe cut that out. So it's a really good thing to sort of do more of what's called an elimination diet, trying things. If they work, great, keep them in. If they don't, then take them out. Okay, so you want to try and find a nutrition plan that works well for you. And for me, I found that the best approach was just a full around, just balanced diet. And this is the approach I've had probably for the last 7-8 years. I've just continued on with this plan since becoming ill, and I've felt great. I've not had any issues. I respond well to most foods. I've not got an issue with dairy, so I can eat like this and feel absolutely fine. So this is the approach that I would suggest for most people. Try not to go extreme. There's no need to go extreme. There's no need to be afraid of carbohydrates. There's no need to be afraid of fats. We need fats, we need carbohydrates, and we need protein in our diet. Don't cut any of them out, okay? This is a mistake that a lot of people do, one that I learned myself, just to try and get fast results. You just don't do that, okay? Balanced approach is best, and this is what I would suggest. Another excellent thing that you can do as a beginner trainer as well, and this is whether even if you're overweight or underweight, it doesn't matter, just to really learn a bit more about nutrition and calories and energy within certain foods. I recommend to most people that come to me, I recommend tracking your calories. Okay, it's a really good, really powerful thing that you can do initially, just to like I say, to learn about foods, to learn about certain calories in foods. There's so many foods that you wouldn't ever think had that much, that many calories in it. Off the top of my head, things like mayonnaise, you'd be shocked at how many calories are in mayonnaise, but people just think, it's relatively kind of liquid, it's not going to have much in it. It's high, really, really high in calories. Things like all of your oils, okay? Oils are super, it's basically just pure fat, so really, really calorie dense. So just tracking your calories using MyFitnessPal. This is a fantastic app. It's very, very easy to use. Like I say, I get most of my clients to do this initially, just so they can have a fantastic understanding or have a much better understanding of food in general, okay? And if you do this for a while, now this is not something that I'd suggest to people to do, forever, but as a fantastic tool that you can use just for a short period of time to learn, okay? And then, like I say, it's a really easy app to use. You've got a barcode scanner there, so most foods tend to have a barcode. You literally just scan it through. You need a little kitchen weighing scale for for things like your carbohydrates, like your pastas, your rice, your meats. You can when you weigh out your meats as well, just to make sure that you've got the measurements right. But it's very, very simple to use. And this is something that I actually personally used and did from about 2014 up to about 2017, roughly in that, 2016 probably in that time. So it was a couple of years I did this on and off, but it was, I think I went a year tracking calories every single day. Sounds a bit obsessive, but for me, I just got into such a good routine with it, and I really liked it. And I found it enabled me, being so skinny, I needed to be in that slight surplus, which I'll talk about later on. But I needed to be in that slight surplus so that I didn't want to undershoot my calories. Or overshoot my calories too much. I wanted to be in that kind of what they call sweet spot, so that I could build muscle and strength slowly. Okay, I didn't want to be stalling, and I felt that by tracking my calories, I felt like I was in a good position, and I could just continue to see good results. So whether you're looking to lose weight, whether you're looking to gain weight, which was my case, tracking your calories is going to be a really, really powerful thing that you can do. So I recommend at least for 3 to 4 months, trying to get into a good routine with it, and you're going to learn so much from doing this that once you stop using the tracker, you're going to be able to eat intuitively way better and have a much better idea of calories that are in foods, calories maybe to avoid if you're trying to cut down, or calories that you can eat a little bit more of if you're trying to gain a bit of weight, depending on what your goals are. So this is something that I would definitely recommend that you all do. MyFitnessPal, fantastic app. When I started training, my training began in the house. I didn't have a gym membership. I just wanted to, when I realised I needed to start building muscle and strength, I didn't really want to join the gym, didn't have a lot of money at that time, so I thought, right, I'm just going to start from the house. So I bought two things. I got myself a pull-up bar, and I got myself a couple of dumbbells, adjustable dumbbells, so you can change the weight. Okay, so this is what I did probably from around about 2013, probably up to about 2015. So it was a good couple of years, roughly, that I just did calisthenics in the house. So I would do probably 2 to 3 times per week, and a lot of the time I was taking this as far as I possibly could in terms of intensity. Sets and reps. I was going. With sets, I was probably going between 4 and 6 of each exercise. Pull-ups, I could do up to 10 sets sometimes, and I was just really trying to work on technique, work on building my strength. I think when I first started doing pull-ups, I could only maybe manage about 2 or 3, maybe not even 1 or 2, and then slowly over time, just using this pull-up bar that was attached to my kitchen door, I managed to work up to doing sort of 15, 20 bodyweight pull-ups, and I was just really working on intensity, working on technique, and just trying to slowly just increase that. So at the time, I was just trying to beat myself, but what I was essentially doing was progressive overload. It was essentially progressive overload, being just trying to increase the intensity over time, and this is how you become stronger and how you build muscle. And because I was taking pretty much every set almost to failure, which I think is really important when you're doing calisthenics and bodyweight exercises, is to try and take most of the exercises as close to failure as you possibly can, because this is going to help your body adapt and get stronger. Okay, so this is what I was doing. At this stage, I was doing a lot of pull-ups. I was doing a lot of press ups, and I started just bodyweight press ups, and I would start to do raised press ups where your feet are raised up above your body, above your chest, which is going to increase the intensity. So I was just slowly trying to find ways in the house of how I could make the exercises harder over the time that I was training. I would have a rucksack that I would fill it with books and whatever I could find in the house, and try and do my pull-ups with the rucksack. I would do my pull-ups with the press ups, and just slowly, I really tried just over time just to get as strong as I possibly could. So I got to the point probably around about 2015 where I thought, there's only so much that I've been able to, I felt like I was stalling, I felt like I was plateauing, I didn't feel like I was progressing anymore. So that was when I joined the gym. I felt like I needed to join the gym just so I could get in with the weights and try and then still continue on with progress. So the best thing I can say with training is, the best bit of advice that I ever got with training over the time that I have been is tracking your workouts. Okay, this is really important if you want to see results. So I really highly suggest that you I started off with a notebook. When I went to the gym, I would write down the exercises that I was going to be doing, and I would try and every session just come back in and just beat that just a little bit more than I did before. That was kind of where I started out. Everything was just pad and paper. Pad and pen, and just write everything down and just keep track of the of my progress that way. So I think I filled up 2 logbooks in the space of a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. I tried not to miss too much with that. And this for me was, like I say, it's probably the best training advice that I've ever had, and it's a lot that I think you see a lot of people, they overlook this, they forget this. You won't see many people in the gym with a pad and pen writing down what they do, and the people that do, if you look at them, you'll tend to see that they've got the best results. They'll probably look the best because they're keeping track of what they do and they're making progress. This is super important. We've said progressive overload. If you don't keep track of what you're doing, then how do you know how much you've done before? If you're trying to track volume, it's going to be impossible to remember what you've done before. You might be able to remember what weight you lifted before, but total volume for the 4 or 5 or 6 sets that you're doing, you're just not going to have a clue. So if you write it all down, you're going to be able to see there what you've done and what you need to try and beat the next time you go in. Now, what I went from pad and pen into using an app. So I use a gym tracker app now on my phone, which is fantastic because it gives you the volume percentage, so you know exactly how much you need to beat the next time you go in. So with saying that, now every time you go in, you're not going to be setting PRs and beating your strength from before, beating your reps from before. Muscle growth and muscle and strength isn't a linear process. It's not a straightforward straight line. Every time you go in, you're going to go up and up and up and up, unless you're a beginner. Now, if you're a beginner, that probably will be the case. You're going to get stronger almost every session you go in, but it's going to get to a point where you will plateau. You're going to stall a little bit. Okay, so ride this train for as long as you can. You can just increase the weight. When it gets to the point where you feel like you're just stalling with the weight, then you need to change up the training variables just a little bit. So at this point you can do different rep ranges. So you can drop the rep range right down, try and increase the weight. This is going to help you gain a little bit more strength. So for instance, if you're starting off around about your 10 to 12 rep range, which is the general rep range that people tend to be in, if you get to the point where you're just stalling a little bit, then you can simply just take the rep range down, put the weight up, try and work more in the higher intensity, so more towards 80-90% RPE, which is rate of perceived exertion, and from here try and increase that. You're going to be gaining some strength, so you maybe do a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks of strength training, and from this point there, you can then look back round once you feel like you've built enough strength in that sort of lower rep range, which would be around about 4 to 6 reps. Is usually quite a good position to be in. You never really, for me, I don't like to go any lower than that. Okay, I don't really believe that you need to ever really do 1 to 3 reps. I just don't think there's any point. You can build a lot of strength in every rep range, but 4 to 6 for me is a really good area to build a lot of strength. So you spend a few weeks in this 4 to 6 rep range. Then you can look back round. When you come back round to your 10 to 12 rep range with the weights that you were on before, you should find now that you can progress and continue on and break through that plateau. So this is a method that I've used personally. This is what I do. It's called training periodization, and it's worked really, really well for me over the years. And I feel like I've continued to build yes, strength, but muscle over time. Okay, so for me, I would recommend that you spend as much time as you possibly can in your sort of more hypertrophy type rep range, which would be anywhere between 7 and 15 reps. You know, even up to 20, but I wouldn't go that high. 7 to 15 is a good kind of sweet spot. Spend as much time in that rep range as possible, because your overall total volume is going to be more, and it's going to give you a much better stimulus for building muscle. When you're into this lower rep range, into the sort of 3 to sort of 5, 6 rep range, then you're building the strength. So it's good to go back and forward, but if you're looking to build muscle, then spend more time in this higher rep range, and only go into this lower rep range when you feel like you need to break through a plateau. So one thing I've learned over the years as well is patience. Okay, so this is something, you know, I learned the hard way. I was very, very impatient. I was looking at all of these people on Facebook and Instagram, and seeing how great they looked in their bodies, and I just wanted to be able to build muscle and that physique as quickly as possible. But one thing that I learned was that you have to be patient. Okay, it's taken a long time. I'm not going to give any unrealistic expectations here. If you're a new trainer, then you need to be patient. Okay, for me, I just wasn't patient at the beginning. I was getting very, very frustrated. Muscle building is not a quick process. It's a slow process. It takes time. You need to be very, very patient. You need to be very, very consistent. And I wasn't very patient, but I certainly was very consistent. I managed to just keep pressing forward. I would just refuse to just say that I'm not making the results that I want to make, so I'm just going to stop. I just refused. I just kept going. So this is one thing that I realize now, at this stage, that is just the way it is. So if you want to get results, then find a program, stick to a program, be consistent, take your time. Don't try and you're not going to be able to rush the results. There's no unless you want to go on the magic supplements, which a lot of people will know that what I'm talking about. But unless you're going to do that, you want natural building muscle naturally does take time. Okay, so you need to be patient. You need to just let the process happen. And over time you will see results, but it can take time. It takes a lot of months, a lot of years sometimes. People won't reach their natural potential. It can take 10 years for a lot of people if they train consistently and do the right things. It can take a long time. So for me, I got very, very impatient a lot. I would just there was times where I felt like I'm not getting the results I want, I'm just going to stop, but I just didn't. I just kept going, and now I can really see and feel the benefit of all these sort of years that I have been training. I can really see and feel the difference. So that would be one thing I would say as well. Just stay the course, be consistent, keep going, and don't give up. And eventually you will one day look in the mirror and go, right, okay, yeah, I've got the results, and I'm feeling really good. It's going to be worth it in the end. So I definitely don't feel like I've reached my natural potential at all. I feel like I've got a long way to go. I've got a lot more progress that I can make. But within my journey, within the time that I've been training, and from the years that I've been training, the most important and valuable lessons that I've learned over my time, which I think could be quite valuable to you as well if you start incorporating them into your lifestyle and training. I would say that the most important things are definitely tracking your workouts. Okay, so keeping a logbook, keeping some kind of track of your training, just so you can see your progression. Now, I find using an app is the easiest. There's lots of different apps that you can use, but I would say definitely tracking your workouts is one of the best pieces of advice that I ever had for seeing results. Okay, it's just going to be much easier for you to continue on. You know exactly what you're doing when you go into the gym. Keep track of your results. The other thing would be tracking your nutrition. Okay, getting a good idea of the calories within your food. Do this for a period of time. Do it for 3-6 months. Do it for a year if you want. If you get into a good routine with it, keep going. That's fine. Okay, so this is going to be a very, very powerful tool, like I mentioned before, that you can use. Okay. The other thing is, I would suggest looking at your exercise selection as well. We didn't talk about that before, but exercise selection is very important. Focus your training around the compound movements. So your big movements you're using, multiple joint movements, like things like your bench press, things like your overhead press, things like your squats, deadlifts. Focus your training around these movements, all your rows. And then you can do your accessories on the side. So don't forget your accessories, because they're also very important as well. Things like your face pulls, things like your bicep curls, tricep extensions, the smaller movements. isolation exercises, they're going to be really important as well. But focus your training around your compounds, and focus your training around progressing your compound movements. This is where you're going to see the best results. Don't just go in and just do bicep curls all day. Multi-joint movements, compound exercise is going to be where you get most of your results from. So focus your training around that. Then you want to be focusing more on the hypertrophy rep range. Now that can be quite a wide range, but for me, I would recommend going anywhere between your kind of 7 reps on the low end up to 15. Okay, that 7 to 15 is going to be your sweet spot for building muscle. This is going to give you more total volume when you train. There's far too many people that you see going into the gym and they're doing these sort of 1 to 3 reps or sticking in this 2 to 5 rep range, trying to get as strong as possible. That's not how you build muscle. You build muscle with more time under tension, with creating more volume over time, and you get more volume through doing the higher rep range. It's the hypertrophy range for a reason. If you find then that you get a little bit stuck and you can't get past that point, then it's okay then to look back round and do the lower reps, trying to build a bit of strength, but then come back round into that higher range. That's if your goal is to build muscle. If your goal is just simply to build strength, then yeah, stick in the low range. You don't ever need to be going into the higher range. But if your goal is to build muscle and size, then that's what I would suggest that you do. With regards to calories and nutrition, if you're looking to build muscle, then try and just go into a small surplus. If you're tracking your calories, you want to be between 200 and 500 calories on the very, very high end, okay? Stay in that in that calorie range. If you're looking to lose weight and lean out, then you want to be at the same idea, so 200 to 500 calories in a deficit. This is going to just help you get results in the right way. We don't want to be crash dieting. We don't want to be doing anything, trying to do everything in a hurry. So take your time with it. It's a long process. This has taken me personally. It's taken me quite a few years. So you've got to be patient. You've got to take your time, and that's the last thing I would say is that with this process, it's about consistency. For me, I haven't probably missed many weeks over the last few years, sort of 3 or 4 years at least. I've maybe only missed 4 or 5 weeks total in that time of training. You've got to be consistent, and above all, you have to stay patient. You have to be really, really patient. Take your time, because the results will not come overnight. You have to just allow the results to happen. Don't give up. Just keep pushing forward, and from my experience to this point, that's what I've really realized are the key components of getting results. So I hope this video has helped you. Please, if it has, drop the video a like, subscribe to my channel, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.